All right, welcome back. It's getting to a point now where honestly, people are again wondering where can I go and when do I go? Now we've been talking about that with Stefan Verstappen for several visits now. This is a critical area, and when to go. What is the trigger point? But before that, you've got to have a place to go. And that requires, of course, a bug out bag and other things. But if you don't have a place to go, the bug out bag is kind of not necessary. You're going to stay home. You need to learn how to defend your home. You need to build a network within your immediate neighborhood so people can stay in touch. Might be good to get a bunch of small, 1, 2, 3 mile little walkie talkies that you can stay in touch with to find out if you're being invaded in your neighborhood, to know who to go help, to know who needs help. This is going to be really house to house, street to street danger. And I'm sorry to say it, but you've got to get ready. Stefan is back tonight. It's Friday night. We're spending most Fridays with Stefan talking about this issue because it goes hand in hand with the obvious genocide that's going on. I personally believe there are over 1 million Americans murdered now to date. The daily total goes up, and the stories in the headlines are really crucial. There's a doctor up there at the top, and the story title is Mass Murder. I wrote this because I want to get the point across. Hospitals are unquestionably kidnapping and killing patients with their money-grubbing COVID treatments. Their treatments. The treatments are murder. Remdesivir, ventilators. Dead. That's simple. Stefan, welcome back.
Hi, Jeff. How are you doing tonight?
I'm I'm fine.
It doesn't sound like you're fine. I'm not fine either, Jeff. I got to be honest with you. It is a mixture of emotions that runs through me these days. One is the most prominent emotion is anger. Anger at the fact that we are now being subjected to mass genocide. There is no doubt about it. I can't understand why people don't see it. I see it. Read a history book. This is what they do. They are out to murder us, and not enough people even understand the seriousness of the situation. And then I'm sad because the world we grew up in, Jeff, you and I, the freedoms that we had, the joy, the days of running in the
Well, that's one of the
sunshine.
first things they killed was joy. They
Yeah,
took it away.
yeah, they killed the joy.
Took it away. Yeah.
And young people have no joy. I feel really
Oh
terrible.
no, no. And
I,
I can't blame them. I don't because they're a victim of circumstances. They've been set up and they're being ground now into controllable pulp.
yeah,
It's sad.
yeah, it's hideous, and I feel terrible for them. Because they don't have any future. They don't have a future for crying out loud. When you and I
No.
were young, we thought the future was golden, right? What was that song? My future's so bright, I need to wear shades.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was our life at that time. Boy, we traveled the world. We had parties on the beach. We went where we wanted to go. Nobody was unemployed. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, if it took you, when I was 18, you checked out the want ads and you phoned a couple of guys, and by the end of the day, you had a job. By the end of the day, and
You know what else? You know what else? This is very good what you've said. We had, and I think many of you will remember this, most of us had goals. I want something. I want to get a car. I want to get a motor scooter. I want to get a bicycle. I want to get a new coat. Whatever. We had goals. We were goal oriented and we worked to achieve those goals. We weren't addicted to a screen that literally removes all normal impetus for people to go out there and work for something. They just sit back, wait for the next check to come in, play with their screens, text somebody, and think that that's living?
yeah, It's
Wow.
madness, and their lives have been destroyed. Most young people today, and I'm sorry, those of you that are young, Generation Z, X, Y, whatever. Um, my generation is
Well, the last one
responsible.
is Gen Z,
Gen
and that
Z,
may be the last one.
yeah, they might be the last ones, but it's my generation that is responsible for it. We should have done more. Not that we were bad. The boomers are getting blamed for a lot of stuff, but I got to be honest with you. I know I saw it growing up. A lot of the boomers sold out for the crap that they spoke out against when they were younger. Right? I couldn't believe it. Suddenly everybody, oh, I got to have the white picket fence. I got to have the brand new car. I got to have this. I got really. When did you suddenly become so greedy? And it was
Right.
a lot of the people around me, and well, and I always thought, well, what do you give back to society now? Oh, well, now I give it back nothing.
You know,
This,
when we were younger, there actually were people, friends of mine and others, who were saving up for college.
yeah, and listen, I worked my way through college. You could actually get a
Me
job in
too.
the summertime, and that
Yeah.
summertime job would pay for your tuition for the next year. And then I worked at the college pub, got to pick up a lot of the
You
girls.
would.
Yeah. Well, you know me now, Jeff, right? I've always been a bit
Yeah.
of a scoundrel. And so, yeah, I worked. And hey, listen, I also did a monthly comic strip for the college newspaper about life in the pub. But listen,
That's clever. I think that's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you should know, Jeff. I'm pretty.
Where'd you go to school?
Oh, I went everywhere. I went.
Mm-hmm.
I went
Okay.
to four different colleges. Four
Very
different,
good.
yeah, Seneca College, Ryerson College, York University, Humber College, and Sheridan
That's
College.
four.
That's
Five.
four? Five? Yeah, five. Yeah. I kept changing my mind about what I wanted to do, and then I realized that this college thing is a scam.
Mhm.
It's really a scam.
Oh, is it ever? I realized it then too. One class, I remember, every class, the prof or whomever would assign books. You had to
Mm-hmm.
go buy books for the class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the way it was. And one class could have 8 to 10 books for the semester. And you start adding that up,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And you have 6 classes, you could have 50 books you're supposed to read and digest
Uh-huh.
for a semester. And now I don't think it's the same.
No.
Uh, not saying I read all those books. In point of fact, I said to myself, if I'm paying all this money for a university education and I can't go into class regularly, not miss any classes, sit there, listen, take notes, and learn, and come away with at least a B without buying all those books, this is a scam. And I did it, and I realized that the book industry was cheek by jowl with the universities. They were making a fortune on the students. I didn't buy but 1 or 2 books the last 3 years I was in the university. I
Good.
refused.
Good for you.
I said, if I can't go into class and learn and pass that class with at least a B, then that teacher is not teaching or there's something terminally wrong with his system.
Yeah.
So anyway, I overcame it and did it. But I would not play that game, that book game. Nobody read the damn books. They bought them.
No, no. I remember the same thing. You buy this big book. It's 1,500 pages, and the teacher would
Yeah, yeah.
assign you throughout the entire semester. They would assign you maybe 10 pages to read. That was it.
That's it.
And I remember thinking, well, why am I paying all this money for a university when I could just buy this book? I can read the book myself, and I can read the whole book. And I
Mm.
will know more than by reading the whole book by myself than I would by attending classes for a year. So what was the point? Listen, Jeff, I'm proud to say that I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out of high school when I was 17, ran away from home, and worked my way out west. Like I said,
Hmm.
in those days, if it took you more than one day to find a job, it was because you weren't even trying. And
That's the truth.
yeah,
Yeah.
people can't believe that. I mean, I would go to. I remember one time I'm driving out west. We're at a restaurant there, and they were really busy, and the waitresses were worked off their feet. And I called one of the waitresses over. I said, "Listen, um, if you want, I'll bus for you guys. Just give me 10% of your tips at the end of the shift." Well, they were so happy because I used to work as a bus boy. I've done it all: bus boy, bartender, waiter, doorman, gas jockey, you name it. And
Uh-huh.
they said, yeah, absolutely, we'd be happy to. So I bussed to their tables for them, and at the end of the shift, they all gave me $10, and so I got $60 for working in the afternoon, which was good money back in
Oh, that
1970.
was worth a couple $100 in some ways back then.
Yeah, yeah. And then I went
Pretty
to another
close.
place. I was in Banff in Alberta, which is a town up in the mountains. It's the Canadian version of Aspen, Colorado. And
Right.
same thing. I went into the restaurant there, the Banff Cafe, and I said, "You guys look really busy. Do you need a busboy?" They said, "Yeah. When can you start?" I said, "I can start right now," and I got a job. That's how fast it was. You were able to get a job, and then you could work your way across the country. I worked at a
You could also learn on the job and pick up skills, and the next job you might take might be a waiter. You get whatever.
Yep,
You learn on the job. They pay you to learn to better yourself in life.
exactly.
They
Yeah,
they pay you to give you skills. That's how it used to be.
Jeff, I'm embarrassed to admit I've probably had like 150 jobs in my life. You name it, everything from working on a farm to a factory to, and then the fancy jobs too. I was a publicist and a marketing communications manager in Silicon Valley, and you name it. Um,
Yeah.
but if you have an IQ above 100, you can figure out how to do this job in a week. I don't care what job it is, truck driving,
That's true.
running heavy
Yeah.
machinery and that. I mean, I could probably figure out how to be a surgeon in a month if I worked in a hospital. I know it sounds arrogant for me to say that. You got an IQ above 100. You didn't need 4 years of university education to learn how to make coffee at Starbucks, for crying out loud. I can't believe they require a degree to work at Starbucks. But anyways, those were the old days, Jeff, never to be seen again, and that makes me very sad. Makes me very sad. We're at the end of summer. See, I didn't enjoy summer at all. What's there to enjoy? They've stolen the joy from us. They've sucked it out of our society with their nonstop fear mongering. But on the other hand, I do feel, I wouldn't say proud, I would say happy, I don't know, contented. But I did save,
Fortunate.
fortunate.
You were fortunate. Yeah.
But I do feel a little bit fortunate today because I was able to save the life of a family. Because this guy called me up. He booked an appointment for one of my consultations. Now, he's a great guy. He's a
Hmm.
very nice guy. We talked. He's a father. He's married. He's got two little girls, 5 and 7. Nice guy. We had a really good talk. And he is aware of the situation. He's not going to take the Kool-Aid. He doesn't believe in the cooties. And he
Right.
understands that, things are probably going to get really bad. But this is probably the same situation with most of your listeners, and that is up until today, he has not taken being prepared seriously enough. So I explained to him what's going to happen. I wasn't mean or anything, but I did light a bit of a fire under his butt. And we went over his preps, everything that he's got, everything that he's, and I mean, woefully inadequate. So we went through everything that he needs to get the medical kit, what needs to be in it, the food and the water,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
He's got, I said, how much you got? Well, I got about 2 weeks supply. 2 weeks? You need a year. You need a year. 6 months minimum. Folks, 6 months minimum food. And I don't mean, some freeze dried powdered food. I mean food that you would eat right now, today, healthy, nutritious food, canned food, spaghetti, rice, flour, bread,
What do
freeze.
you figure, Stefan, excuse me, you
Yeah.
mentioned water, 6 months. What do you figure? A quart of water a day you can get by? What do you think?
Well, the standard is 6 liters a day, right? 6 quarts a day. That's the
I think
standard.
that's a bit, for me, that would be a lot.
For me, it would be a
Uh,
lot too. But then, most of my liquids come in the form of beer, so I don't need 6 liters of water.
well, you don't care either, do you?
No, and coffee
Uh,
and other
that's
things.
funny.
But
Okay, so if you buy a gallon container of water, if you're not going to talk about making your own, if you buy a gallon container, you need 7 gallons a week, all right, thereabout,
yeah,
and that would be 28 gallons a month times 620. You need 120 bottles of water,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. Well, listen, water, you go through water a lot. You use up a lot of water, not just for drinking and cooking, but for
Oh,
washing and
absolutely. Yeah.
so
Shower, water, yeah, sure.
that you have 24 water bottles underneath the sink. Yeah, that's great. That'll last you 3 days, 4 days. Again, it also depends on where you live. Where I lived up there in Ojai in California. And the temperatures occasionally got up to like 105 degrees. Well, then you're going to need 6 liters a day.
You
But
live in Ojai.
yeah,
I'm from Santa Barbara.
I
That's
know you're
funny.
from Santa Barbara. I lived in Ojai,
Yeah,
and then I moved down to Ventura,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
I've bicycled down Santa Barbara there dozens of times. I'd get my wife to drive me all the way up to the top of the mountain there. I'd take my bike off and I'd just cruise all the way down till I reached State Street, and then
Down 154 on
yep,
a bicycle.
yep,
That's dangerous.
it was
That was a
beautiful.
wild 2-lane road back then. I don't know what it is now.
Oh, it was so much fun, and then finally down to the pier.
Yeah. Oh, great, great. And it's all downhill.
All
You didn't
downhill,
have to work.
right?
Oh, no, you could coast all the way.
Yep. Oh, I loved it. It was great, and the scenery and the views and the trees and the mountain. It was beautiful there. Yeah, and same
Yeah.
thing with Ojai. I lived on a horse ranch on the above Ojai. There's that valley, that high valley, and I lived up on the mountain above that high valley. And the same thing.
Oh,
I would do my bicycle ride down from there. And there's a really good bicycle trail that runs all the way down, and you end up in Ventura Beach.
hmm.
Good times, Jeff. Good times. Anyways, so I lit the a fire under his butt, and we went through all the preps, the food, the medical bag, the radio, and I encouraged him to get a firearm, which I did with another client a couple of months ago. He just sent me an email. He said, "Thank you so much for forcing, or not forcing, but encouraging me to get my firearms license. I got it today, and I'm going to go out and buy myself a firearm. Thank you so much." Because people think it's a big deal, and it's not that big a deal. Even here in Canada, with our strict gun laws, it's not that big a deal to get your firearm license and then go buy
Hmm.
a gun. Get a gun. Just one is enough. I recommend a 12 gauge pump action. I have a Mossberg 500 with 2 barrels because a shotgun will kill anything and everything provided you're close enough. But that's all you need. One gun, $250 at the Big Five sports store, right?
Right.
So anyway, so
20 gauge is another good one. People underrate that. That's a very good shotgun
I
size.
recommend it for the ladies. Yeah, I always recommend that for the ladies because it's a little bit less recoil, right?
Yep.
Anyways, so we went through all the stuff that he needs to get, right? And I told him, I said, listen, it's going to cost you, I figure, about $2,500 to get all this stuff, to get prepped. And that, to people, that sounds like a lot of money. You know what? It's nothing. It's an insurance policy. And I told him, I said, how much money do you spend a year on car insurance? How much money a year do you spend on house insurance? And when have you ever gotten a penny back from it? Jeff, I have paid for car insurance for 50 years. I have never had an accident. I've never received a penny from the insurance company. Basically, I built or I bought the insurance company a house. 50 years of monthly payments. That's a house, okay? And I got nothing out of it. So now I want the listeners out there to invest 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 bucks and get all the stuff you need to be prepped. It's a life insurance policy, and it will save your life. And I told him, I said, listen, I know it sounds like a lot, but think about the girls. If anything happened to those girls because you weren't ready, because you didn't think about it, you will never forgive yourself.
That's you couldn't be more correct. All right, stand by just a minute. Stefan Verstappen and I, and all of you, will be back together right on the other side of the break. Okay, and we're back with Stefan, talking about a lot of things, including a wonderful bike ride from top of Highway 54, 154 rather, all the way down into Santa Barbara, down State Street, down to Stearns Wharf. Just amazing. What a ride.
Yeah.
Okay, memories. What else are we going to talk about tonight?
Yeah,
What
I
do
want
you
to
need?
talk about, well, since you just mentioned the bicycle ride, let me tell you about, I have 3 kits. I have a bug out kit, or a bug out bag, or they used to call it an emergency evacuation kit, or a 3-day kit. But I also have a car kit. And I think everybody listening right now, you got to consider doing this for yourself as well. Because when this shit hits the fan, it can happen at any time. You could be at the office, you could be out at the beach, or you could be driving somewhere, and then suddenly all the lights and power and the electricity and the gas, everything goes out. Now you're in the thick of it. So you should carry a car kit. It's not a bug out bag, but it's a kit that you keep in your car in case of emergencies. And then also for people that live up in Alaska and up here in Canada, it's really important to keep a car kit because at any time you could get snowed in or go off the road and get stuck in a bank or snowbank or something like that. And now you got to live with just what you got in the car. So I have a car kit, and what I got in the car kit is this. I got 2 quarts of oil. I've got an extra jug of windshield wiper fluid. I've got an extra jug of antifreeze. You need antifreeze if you drive up here in Canada. I've got a pair of jumper cables. And I've also got a spare battery-powered car starter. It's about the size of a car
Oh
battery,
yeah, sure. I know what you mean.
right?
Yeah.
And it's got
Yep.
it's also got the clamps on it, the jumper cables, and so you can pull it out and
What do those cost now? 80, 90 bucks?
something like that. It's not
Something
that
like that?
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Canada
Yeah.
it'd be about 125 bucks, 100 bucks. I think I got mine for 100. And well, it's come in handy. I can't tell you how many times it's come in handy. You have to take it out and recharge it in the house every, once a month, recharge it.
Oh, big deal.
Yeah, big deal.
That's a great product.
Yeah, it's a great product because if your battery goes dead and there's nobody around to give you a jump start, then you can use this to start up your car, and then it will run off the alternator, of course. So I have that in the back of the car. I also have a sort of a roadside kit. So I've got 3 flares, and they're good for a lot of things, for light at night, or if you can't start a fire, and God forbid you should get stuck in a fog bank. If you don't stick the flare out down, 30 yards behind your car, you're going to have the next 50 cars ram into the back of you. All right? How many times have we seen that? And
None.
right?
Too many.
Those big pileups on the highway, and I'm thinking, did nobody have a flare? Did nobody have a goddamn flare that they can walk down 30 yards down the road and throw a couple of flares on the road and prevent this entire disaster? I didn't see anybody that had a flare. Did you see any flares in the footage of those big pileups? No. because people don't
Not a
think.
one. No.
No,
Mm-mm.
right? Not one. And that, that $2 flare could have prevented, $10 million worth of busted up automobiles and trucks and God knows how many lives. But, again, this is, we forget how to be self reliant and responsible. Listen, men in those days were prepared for stuff like this. They thought in advance. So, anyways, I got the car kit, so I got three flares in there. I also have a can that I don't know what they call it, a flat tire can. It's compressed air, and it's
Oh
got
yeah, sure.
right, and it's got some
It's,
sort of
it's
glue or something on the
it
inside.
inflates a flat. A flat. They got different brand names for them, but yeah.
Yeah. So if you get a flat tire, now I do have a spare, and I know how to change the tires, but I'm going to try this thing first because it's a lot easier than me, jacking up the car, and and especially if it's really cold outside, it's a real pain in the ass. So I've got one of those cans. You screw it onto the tire, and it will reinflate your tire. And if it's just like a small puncture or something, which usually it is, it will seal that puncture, and then you can keep going. So I've got that in there. Also, I got a small first aid kit in the car, right? The usual, nothing too fancy,
Sure.
nothing as fancy as what I got from my bug out bag or my stay at home bag. But look, it's good to have band aids and antibiotic cream and disinfectant. And okay, so I got the first aid kit. I got the can, the inflatable tire can. I got the flares. I got the jumper cables. I got the booster battery. I've got the extra oil, windshield wiper fluid, and antifreeze. I also got 2 gallon can of gas. Now 2 gallons isn't a lot, but I still keep it in the back there in case, just in case. If you run out of gas, well, I got another 40 miles by carrying that in the back. And I also have those emergency blankets. We talked about that one before. Better than nothing. It's $1 a piece. Grab a couple. But
Hmm.
I also have a car blanket, a wool blanket. Because here in Canada, if you get stuck on the side of the road and you're in a remote area and well maybe they can't even come because the roads are the snow drifts are so thick that people can't get through to you and you're stuck in the car, yeah, at least you got a blanket to wrap yourself with. The other items I keep is a half a dozen candles. Now I don't know if this is true, but there's a theory that if you burn just one candle in the car you won't freeze to death. I don't know if that's true or not. Let's try it anyways. I'd rather have a few candles in the car if I'm
I'll let you know
stuck.
how it goes.
Yeah, I should try it out. And also, what I have in the car is an extra pair of gloves. Let's say you have to change the tire or something like that, and then it's at night and suddenly it's cold and your hands are too numb to unscrew the bolts on the tire, and a pair of gloves will come in handy. So I got a pair of gloves and I got an extra wool hat. And I got a scarf again because in Canada it's already cold out right now, Jeff. I go outside for a smoke, I'm freezing my butt off. It's not even Labor
It's
Day.
cold already, huh?
Oh,
All right.
cold already. It's about 50 degrees right now. So that's your car kit. And oh, I also have a energy bars. I got energy bars in there. So if I'm hungry, I got a half a dozen energy bars, 200 calories a piece. So that's 1,200 calories. That's enough for a day, right? Keep you going for a day. So I keep that in my car at all times. Oh, one more thing I keep in the car, part of my car kit, and that is a socket tool kit. So it comes with sockets and a wrench and an extension, but it also has needle nose pliers and regular pliers
Oh,
and
what a great thing. Yeah, small, compact. A socket kit is a lifesaver.
it
Just
is, Jeff. It is
yeah, I know.
because listen,
Do so many things.
I'm pretty handy with tools and I can fix a lot of
Hmm.
things. I'm not a you know
Hmm.
I'm an old fashioned guy. I fix stuff. I don't just throw it away and
Yeah.
buy a new one. I fix it, and I can fix
Tighten
most.
up the Tighten up the optics mount on your AK-47.
Anyways, but so I got that socket kit in there, and it's even got the circuit tester and things like that. So, and
Yeah.
when I drove across country from California to Canada, well, there was a couple of times that things went wrong with the car. But guess what? I got the kit there. I got my tools, and I went and I fixed it, and I didn't have to have the car, brought to a garage and get gouged by somebody because they know you're in a bad position. So fix it yourself. So with the tools and that kit, I carry that with me everywhere I go because it's in the back of the car. It doesn't take up that much room. It takes up take a cardboard box that's let's see, you know, 12 inches by 10 inches high by 24 inches long, right? Cardboard box. It will fit all this stuff except maybe that battery charger. That would be a bit different, and you put that in the trunk of your car because we don't know when this is going to happen. And when it happens and you are stuck on the road and something goes wrong with your vehicle, at least you have the ability to fix it and the ability to survive and thrive and still feel full. I also put a couple of packets of hot chocolate and coffee because I can boil the water. You can get one of those.
Yes.
You can get one of those cups that plug into the cigarette lighter and it'll boil water.
Or one of those little those wonderful little alcohol heaters.
Did you get yours yet?
Not yet, but it's on my list. I'm
Yeah.
on it.
Okay. Yeah, or one of the alcohol heaters, and then you can make yourself a nice cup of coffee. Again, I'm speaking about Canada, but for your listeners, that means everybody in the Northeast and the Midwest. You all know what I mean when you're talking about winter travel.
No,
Anyway,
my car had a little problem, and I'm directing all the money to getting it bailed out of the garage. It blew a head gasket,
mm,
and it's a straight six-cylinder engine, so that means that had to all be taken apart.
oh, that's
Anyway, big
expensive. A
deal.
head gasket. That's expensive. 2,500 bucks.
3,800 bucks.
1,800. Yeah.
38.
Oh, I was going to say 2,500 bucks. 3,800. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can't fix a head gasket on the side of the road with my toolkit,
Well, they got to
unfortunately.
send the head out, and it's got to be checked for a level. And if it's not level, if
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
damaged in
Yeah.
any way, they got to grind it down, and they got to pressure check. It's a big deal. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a blown engine, is what it is.
Yeah. No, I blew a head gasket when I was living there in California about 15 years ago. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, you never know.
you
You
never know.
never know. I had no expectation. I had 220,000 miles on the car. It's a Toyota Land Cruiser. Great car,
Yeah.
fabulous car.
Yeah.
And the last year they made that wonderful straight six, and it just it went.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
So you never know.
You never know. But again, the part of being prepared is yes, be prepared with some things at home. Be prepared by putting together a bug out bag, and maybe next week we can talk about it because to cover the bug out bag and do it justice would take longer than we have left tonight. So let's talk about the bug out bag maybe next week. But to be prepared means, yeah, have this stuff in your car all the time. Have it in your car. Now, the other thing I carry, Jeff, and we talked about this about the bicycle trip, I carry a pocket survival kit. And this is
Pocket.
a pocket. It's a survival kit that fits in your pocket. It fits. I have a survival. Well, actually, I have a couple of versions of it. I have the pocket survival kit that fits in an Altoids tin. You know those Altoids?
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in there
Those
is.
things are full of all kinds of nasty chemicals. I looked at the ingredients once.
Oh yeah. Well, throw the
Altoids.
yeah, throw the
Yeah.
Altoids out and keep the tin. But actually, you can buy
Good
the
idea. Nice, attractive packaging. I agree.
yeah. Well, you can buy like those tins that are like sealable. You can get them at these like hiking shops, outdoor shops, out tripper shops.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And so in the little tiny pocket kit, and it literally fits in your shirt pocket. But in there, there's a flashlight, there's matches, there's some headache tablets, there's a mirror, there's a little a micro first aid kit, some band-aids, some antibiotic cream, some duct tape, some a little folding knife, a little multi-tool, a little tiny Leatherman, and and a few other assorted items that are in there. I got a little glow stick, and that all fits in an Altoids tin. Now, listen, it sounds crazy that why would you want something like this? But I put it together, and I'll tell you why. For example, when I was in Ventura, I was teaching Kung Fu to a couple of kids there, well, young men, 20, 25 years old. They're kids to me now, right, Jeff? So I call them
Yeah.
kids. And I was teaching them Kung Fu, but also other things. I was like mentoring them and, teaching them to be, prepared for all events. Anyways, one of the guys, he decides to go for, he's going to join a group of hikers that went up into the mountains there around Santa Paula, I think it's
Sure.
Sulphur Mountain. Anyways, he gets lost. He lost the group. He got lost on the trail. And then it got
Wow.
dark. And then he didn't know where to go. And he had nothing on him. He had no matches. He had no flashlight. He had no knife. He had no whistle to call for help. He had
Oh,
no. And he spent the entire
brilliant.
night on a rock in the middle of a creek because he was so terrified. Because up there at night, the mountain lions come out. So, and listen, the temperature will drop too. And he didn't have anything like, oh, the other thing I keep again, one of those little emergency blankets. And he was just in the shirt that he was wearing when he started the trip. So, yeah, okay, you start the hike at noon and it's 78 degrees, but
How
by
many people were in the group?
6.
Huh.
And he lost track of them and then he got lost. They had to send out search and rescue. They found him at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I have kicked his ass so bad, Jeff. I said, "You dummy, what have I taught you? Always bring minimum a pocket emergency kit because if he had had that, he could have built a
Yeah.
fire. He could have kept warm. He could have had the whistle to call for help. He could have had
Hmm.
the emergency blanket to keep warm. He could have had a flashlight so that he could look for the trail again and try and find his way back home. That's why you carry this little emergency pocket kit in case something freaky like that would happen. Anyways, I never let him live it down. I tease him about it all the time. Every time he calls me up, I said, "So did you get lost?"
Well, people just don't seem to be able to think ahead. Even back in the day, they just don't think ahead. It's not going to happen to me. No problem. They
Yeah.
don't prepare. I don't know why that is. People just don't seem to prepare.
Well, listen, our great grandparents prepared because they were settlers and pioneers. Boy, did they have to
They
prepare.
had to.
They had to. Their life depended on it. But we all became soft and cushy and spoiled. We're, 3 generations of people that are really pretty spoiled. And because we're spoiled, everybody feels entitled to happiness and comfort. But they are not willing to prepare or work for happiness and comfort. They just feel entitled. Anyways, which brings me to my third kit. So you got the pocket kit, and but I have an extra pocket kit, a mini one, but it's a little bit bigger. I keep it in a pouch that's the size of, a magazine pouch for ammo, right? So you can wear it on your belt, and I have everything in there. And that's a kit I take with me every time I go on the bicycle. And the trips I bicycled all up and down the mountains there, from Santa Barbara all the way down to Newport Beach. And I
My
always
other home, that
New-
was my first home. Santa Barbara was my second.
I love Newport
Funny,
Beach. It was beautiful there.
funny. Well, it used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything used to be. I know. And in this pouch, I have the same equipment like I just mentioned about the pocket survival kit. I got a
Uh-huh.
flashlight, I got a knife, I got match. No, well, actually, I put a lighter in there. Lighter is better than matches. The first aid kit, a little bit bigger first aid kit than the other pocket one. I got a little bit more stuff because, I've banged myself up a few times on those bike rides. You brush by. There's this plant there in California that's got these thorns, and if you bicycle and you just kind of graze these thorns, my God, you got a 3-inch spike in your elbow. So,
Well,
anyways, and
do they
then
have,
yeah, go ahead.
excuse me, Stefan, they must have, for people, I'm not knocking anybody, but if somebody wants to go, and I hate Amazon, but go online and look up portable first aid kits. And they'll have probably all kinds of choices ready to go for you. You won't have to buy it and assemble it yourself.
Right.
It'll be ready. Is this true?
Oh, absolutely. And most of them are, well, a lot of them are okay. Now, when I do my consultations and I talk about your first aid kit, I don't call it a first aid kit, I call it a medical kit. So you're going to buy the standard first aid kit, but now you're going to
Yeah.
add a lot of other stuff to make it robust.
Why
So,
don't you do this, Stefan? Put together a little half-page article and make a couple of recommendations for the baseline kit that people can buy online or wherever, and then what else they need to add to it. That would be real good. That people can print that out, or we can go through it on the program.
yeah, we can go through it on the program. And yeah, I was
That
thinking
would
of
be
doing
good.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
So, but the difference is that I have a slightly bigger knife, but I also have a bicycle repair kit, so I can, the rubber cement and the patches for the inner tube. I have a link tool so that if I break a chain, I can, it's like a little vice thing. You pop out the pin, and I can repair the chain if it breaks. And I also have a little Leatherman tool, which is, it opens up and there's a little pair of pliers, and then the rest
Those
of it.
things are pretty neat.
They're
Yeah.
pretty neat, but the one that I keep in the kit because it's small, it's like a baby Leatherman. It's so small. I think they give them out as gifts when you go to conventions or something.
Mm.
And you think it's useless. I thought it was useless. I thought, well, okay, I'll carry it anyways. But boy, did that come in handy one day. That kit has come in handy so many times when I've been on my bicycle rides. So I'm coming down Ojai on that ride I told you about, right? And
Hmm.
well, I skidded. I went off the trail. I took the corner too fast, went off the trail. Now I'm going down the mountain. I've got both brakes on, but I'm just skidding. I'm not stopping. I'm just skidding. I go headfirst into a 3-foot boulder. Now, because of my martial arts training, I pole vaulted
You pole vaulted over the rock.
over the rock, and I landed on my feet perfectly safe. But
Gee.
yeah, but that's from martial arts training. But my front tire was bent at a 45 degree, the rim. It was just destroyed. And
Hmm.
now to walk from Ojai to Ventura would have taken me like 12 hours.
Yeah. All right, we got to hurry. Go ahead.
Anyways, I took out the kit, used that little Leatherman. I took off the wheel. I jumped on it. I straightened it out. It was still off, but using that little Leatherman tool, I was able to adjust the spokes, and I got that front wheel perfectly balanced in 20 minutes. And I could just
Yeah.
bike back down. So, like I said, these little kits, they will
Got it.
help. They will
Well,
help when things
let's
go wrong.
come up with maybe a couple kits you see online that would be good baseline starter kits, and we can go from
I've
there.
already got it. It's in my book, The Art of Urban Survival. I'll just print that.
Ah, very
Yeah,
good.
yeah. The bug
Okay.
out bag and the pocket kit is in that book.
All right. Thank you, Stefan.
You're
Have a
welcome,
good
Jeff.
weekend.
Yeah, you too. We'll talk
Talk-
next week.
Thank you.
Bye
All right.
bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Stefan Verstappen, and we will be back with you Monday, which is a holiday for some people, but we'll be here because the news never stops.